Mr. Speaker, I too rise today to honor the service and pay tribute to Gregg David Wenzel, a national clandestine service officer of the Central Intelligence Agency. Gregg graduated from Monroe Woodbury High School in my district and from SUNY Binghamton. He then went on to graduate from the University of Miami School of Law in the mid-90s. And choosing a life of public service, he worked as a public defender in Miami before taking a job with the Florida Bar Association. But after the tragic events of September 11, 2001, Gregg joined the CIA. He was a member of the first post-9/11 class. Serving in his very first assignment abroad in 2002, at the age of only 33, he lost his life in service to our country in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, on July 9, 2003. The CIA honored Gregg and his service by placing a star on their memorial wall at the CIA headquarters. But, of course, it was not until later, in 2009, that the full story of his service could be shared publicly. Gregg Wenzel represents an entire generation who bravely served their country, who answered the call to service following the attacks of September 11th. He sought a career at the agency for two reasons: to serve his country and to, quote, live for a greater purpose than himself. To live for a greater purpose than himself. That is a legacy and expression of service that we can all learn from. Recognized as a leader by CIA Director Leon Panetta and known for his sense of humor and his desire to make a difference, Gregg served on the front lines of our intelligence operation and ultimately sacrificed his life in defense of the freedoms we all too frequently take for granted. Our country owes a gratitude to Gregg and his family, including his mother, Gladys, his father, Mitchell, his sisters, Maura, Rachel, and Heather. With passage of H.R. 2112, a post office in Monroe, New York will be named in his honor. For generations to come, his hometown will be reminded of his service and sacrifice, and my neighbors will continue to be inspired by this man's deep devotion to his country. Although no one can ever fully repay his family for their tragic loss, I hope this bill will come as some small comfort and as a tribute to his memory. Mr. Speaker, with honor and respect to the life of Gregg David Wenzel, I urge my colleagues to support H.R. 2112. I thank you, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have no other speakers at the moment, and I continue to reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Vermont is recognized.
I yield back.
The gentleman from Vermont yields back. The gentleman from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I urge all the members to support the passage of H.R. 2112, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass the bill H.R. 2112? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to